to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg. This is Bachelorette Talks, and today we are discussing episode 3 of Hannah's season. Long time no talk. I need to apologize very quickly in the beginning of this video. I normally upload every single Wednesday my Bachelor recap video. I missed the first 2 episodes. Unfortunately, there was a death in the family, so just the timing of when things happen, I hadn't yet watched the first episode and had time to record or anything, and I had to fly across the country. So just the timing of it all, I missed the first 2 episodes in this series, but now I'm back. I'm ready to get into it. I have some thoughts from episode 2 that I'm gonna get into really quickly, and I will be back on regularly scheduled programming. Fingers crossed nothing else horrible happens, and get into the rest of the series. So, excuse me in this video, I'm very caffeinated right now. So, first of all, in episode 2, I loved that it had Miss J, Alaska, and Alyssa. I lived, breathed, and died for that. I thought it was amazing. I love that. So I had to point that out. My other observations from the beginning of the first 2 episodes was that they are trying to make Luke P like Demi. Like, people were kind of complaining about her being so forward and how, you know, during Mr. Right, he like professed his premature love and kissed her, kind of like how Demi went up during the talent show and kissed Colton. So that was the first thing that struck in my mind, and then just kind of how he is going out of his way to make himself very present and very present on these group dates, and then after the rose ceremony, how he went to talk to her afterwards. So to me, that was just very reminiscent of Demi, and it is very clear that they are trying to make Cam the villain. And you've already seen the episode, so we know he goes home this episode. So now I feel like, based off the previews, that the new villain is that they're gonna focus on Luke being the bad guy the whole rest of the season, probably. So what are your thoughts on Luke? Let me know. As always, this is a spoil-free zone. If you know who the winner of The Bachelorette is, if you know who the final 2 are, if you even know who the top 4 are, please do not leave that in the comments down below. If I see a comment like that, it'll be deleted, because there are a group of us that like to, you know, wait it out and see what happens as things progress on the show. However, if you have tea to be spilled, like I'm gonna be spilling some tea in this episode about one of the contestants, feel free to leave what other kind of gossip or disturbing things that you find about the comments down below. I love reading that. I love discussing it and having a discussion with you guys. Just no spoilers on the winner. Okay, and I also have my notes, so that is what I'm going to be referring to if I look down. It is still early enough in this season where I don't know everybody's names. There's a few standout people that I know, and I think I'll probably have everyone's names down probably by episode 4, for sure by episode 5. And I just want to say, I did a cast reveal video, and I just said the first 4 episodes are always the most boring. However, I am not bored. Like, I just need to take a second. Hannah, I love her as a Bachelorette. Like, I was just like, okay, this could be good, but I'm so pleasantly surprised. So let me know, what are your thoughts on Hannah being the Bachelorette? What do you think of her? I love her. I love how she is not taking anybody's crap. She has made it very, very clear that she is calling the shots. I'm sure that there are some things that she does that production isn't the biggest fan of, but she is not letting that get in the way of her journey. She is not afraid to call people out. She's not afraid to get real. She's not afraid to get emotional. I am loving her I take no crap attitude. I think it's great. I think the first 2 episodes were very entertaining. The 3rd episode was entertaining too. So I'm like pleasantly surprised, because I feel like ever since Ari, we have just been bored, or at least that's been me. So let me know your thoughts. I'd love to know. So the very first group date that we have Jonathan, Mateo, John Paul Jones, which, by the way, he irks me. It rubbed me the wrong way when he introduced himself to Hannah, and he's like, I'm John Paul Jones, and my friends call me John Paul Jones, so you can call me John Paul Jones. anyone else. Okay, that just, John Paul Jones, like that's just such, ugh, that's so weird. I can't imagine dating somebody and being like, John Paul Jones, what do you want for dinner? Like, anyways, I need to stop. Kevin, Jed, Tyler C, Mike, and Cam. And the date card said, let's push our love to the limit. So Hannah is very big on testing people, and I think it's interesting to see how these guys react, because she said that she really wanted to see people's sympathy and empathy in this group date. And it's not about being the best or showing off, it's about putting in an effort and actually trying. And I feel like these guys, especially guys that get very competitive, they're probably like, I need to be the best, I need to be the best, and they may get into their heads a little bit too much, and that could be their downfall. Hannah just wants to see people putting effort in. And I like that she says she wants people to be bold, but then again, Cam was also annoying me so bad where he's like, what was it? Like, ABC all about Cam or something. That was annoying. And then just be bold, guys, be bold. And it's like, you're so annoying. So this was the group date where they had to simulate giving childbirth, and you know, they tried doing like a little quiz. And it's just really interesting. I think it says a lot about our public school systems on how these guys answer the questions and how terrible they did. So I feel like we, you know, political moment, need to have better education in schools. Anyways, it was just a very fun episode to watch these guys get tortured. The real part of the date didn't start until afterwards, and I like Mike a lot. I don't think he's gonna go terribly far into the competition. I think he's gonna make it a little bit past the halfway point, and I already think he would be really great to have in Paradise. But he shared a very vulnerable story about how he went through a miscarriage, and how that affected him, because a lot of times when we think of a woman having a miscarriage, I think that the man is often forgotten, at least in my thinking, because we always think about all the horribleness and trauma and sadness that the woman goes through, and I feel like we also forget that it also affects the partner too. So it was just nice for him to open up. He was like the first guy to really open up and show a vulnerable side to Hannah, and I really like seeing that side of him. Obviously, I feel like that's weird to say, like it's awful that that happened, but I like seeing him open up and seeing a different side to his personality. I think that he was very genuine with that. The unfortunate and frustrating part of this date was Cam being a chronic interrupter. And I know production plays a lot into it. They're probably like, oh, go interrupt, go interrupt. But it's just like, it was such a serious moment for him to be interrupting literally every 10 seconds. I would have blown a gasket if I was Mike. And you can tell that Hannah's pissed, because this is what I've always wondered when it comes to The Bachelor and Bachelorette. Like, are they allowed to be like, shut up and go away? Because that would be me. If I was the Bachelorette on the show and somebody kept coming in like literally every 10 seconds, I would be like, you need to go the fuck away and leave me alone. So I liked that Hannah was kind of like, okay, like for real dude, like go away, I'm not talking to you right now. So I really like that. I feel like I really vibe with Hannah's personality. Like I like how she's not afraid to be like, you're annoying, leave me alone. We also see her do that later with Luke, which, yeah, awesome. Then the cattiness comes in because Jonathan's like, oh, he interrupted you a whole lot and he's talking to her now? Oh, okay, I can play this game too. So he goes and gives Cam a taste of his medicine, and Cam's reaction to this is hilarious because Cam is super pissed, but it's like, it's literally what you're doing to everybody else, and you're basically complaining that you quit your job. I don't understand Cam. Okay, like sidebar, flash forward to the end of the episode where he says he has some disease or something. I like tuned him out, but like this would have been the opportune time to talk about how this disease affected you and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just bad taste, in my opinion, to go up to the Bachelor or Bachelorette and be like, I had to quit my job to come here. Like, that's just, it's weird. Weird. Like, the timing of it all is just very weird. He should have brought up his illness then instead of being like, I had to quit my job to be here. So like, you know, I think he was like trying to get the message across, I'm so serious, I quit my job, but it just came across of, I quit my job, so don't send me home early, like make it worth it. Like that's kind of more the vibe I got from him. But anyways, Cam is pissed that Jonathan interrupted him, and I thought it was hilarious because Hannah didn't really like, you know, tell Jonathan to go away so many times. She just kind of was like, okay, get Cam away from me. And you can definitely tell Cam is a little bit unhinged because of the way he was just staring Jonathan down, just like, and I think that that's so messed up to do. Like, that's just as bad as, you know, verbally fighting with somebody or physically fighting with them. It's just such an intimidation thing, and I think that it's really messed up that he did that, and Jonathan kept his cool, so props to Jonathan, because I would not be able to tolerate that. I have zero patience, in case you guys couldn't tell. And I also found it interesting because Cam went on to describe Jonathan as an annoying little chihuahua, but it's like, bro, that's what you are. You are an annoying little chihuahua. Jonathan isn't. He was just giving you a taste of your own medicine, buddy, and obviously you didn't like it. Tyler seemed to be very supportive and was just very empathetic and said that this date reminded him to call his mom today. Like, whether he's full of crap or not, it was like really sweet what he said. And Mike got the rose on the date. On to the 101. So, my cat's puking, hold that thought. Okay, 101, Connor, so cute. I think who else's heart melted during this. So basically, Connor was supposed to do some kind of sailing date with Hannah. However, poor girl got some exhaustion going on already, which I don't blame her. I can imagine how stressful this show has to be. And she's already dealt with, you know, a lot of work keeping these men in check. So she had to go to the hospital, unfortunately, but she still wanted Connor to come over and hang out with her for a little bit. So they definitely bonded. He shared a story about how his mom unfortunately had a stroke and how it just really taught him to be there and how family sits there and takes care of each other. So that was a sweet moment. He wrote a card, brought her flowers. I mean, he is just like checking everything off here on this date. He wrote her such a nice note in the card. And then before he left, she had to get back to sleep. So before he left, he went around, wrote another adorable note at the foot of the stairs, and then left all these sticky notes all over the apartment for her to find. And oh, I just loved it. And for me, it just made me so happy and die with cuteness, because that is exactly something that my husband does, and that he definitely did a lot when we first started dating, always leaving me notes to find, and that is just something that you honestly cherish forever. And it's just such a good quality to have in a partner, just somebody that's thinking about you and lets you know their thoughts. And you could just see the smile on her face where she was just reading all the things that he liked about her, and it was just so freaking cute to watch. So Connor was a little bit bummed that he didn't get to stay and hang out with Hannah more. However, Hannah was feeling better later on, so they had the awkward concert date where it's just the two of them and someone singing, and every season has this, and it's always so weird to me. But yeah, they went out on a little date, so they got to continue that. I was super happy for them. I was able to look past like the cringiness of somebody performing for just the two of them this time around. And then I also, that's another thing I want to say, so far the dates on Hannah's season haven't been terrible. Like, there really hasn't been any where I'm like, this is boring, this doesn't make sense. Like last season for Colton, and I know I'm taking another sidebar, he seemed so disinterested in so much of the stuff they did on that season. It was just mind-blowing to me. So it's been refreshing this season so far. Anyways, so I definitely love Connor. Like, he is a winner in my book. So excited about that. The next group date, I think I got all the guys. They didn't announce who all the people on this date were, but I think it was Devin, Garrett, Dylan, Grant, Luke, Peter, Joey, Luke S, and it said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So it was another, again, every season, there's always like they even do this on Paradise, there's always a photo shoot date. But they changed it up and kept it interesting because they added spying on the side of it. And I am somebody that really liked Demi on Colton's season, so I was excited to see her back and like spying on these guys. I enjoyed that episode because I'm very nosy, so I like that aspect of it. And everybody passed the test. I think we were all kind of wondering if Luke P was gonna waver and flirt with the makeup artist, but he was like, no, I'm in love with her. So now I'm kind of like, so, yeah, I think he's a little bit obsessive. Infatuated is definitely a word. I think at this point, it's kind of too early to see if he's truly genuine for Hannah or if he just wants to be the best at being the best. I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about him. And on this date, Hannah actually tells him he needs to cool it because while before she was really impressed with his forwardness, it's a little bit too much. And I agree, girl. I would be like, listen, you need to back up. Like, we are good. Stop being up my ass. I have like 7 other guys here. You are not number one. You are not the end all be all. So you need to chill, go in a corner, leave me alone for a bit. Like, I, again, totally relate to Hannah. What do you guys think? Would you be annoyed if Luke was like that much into you? It's like, it's great that you're into me and all, but I mean, that was basically the gist of the group date, was her telling Luke to back it up. Who got the rose on this date? Was it Peter? Peter got the rose. She's really feeling Peter, and I don't blame her because he's a cutie patootie. Now we move on to the rose ceremony. So she had a tailgate. That's, again, why I like Hannah. Maybe I should call the series Why I Like Hannah. I like her because she's not a very formal person. She's like, I want to be kicked back and relax and not, you know, have to be all super dressed up to the nines all the time. So she wanted to have a tailgate, and I can appreciate that, keeping things a little bit more casual. And that's also what I really liked about her one-on-one with Connor. I preferred seeing that because it's like Connor said, this is more of what our day-to-day life would be once this is all over. It is not extravagant dates all the time. So I like seeing that more realness, you know, not so much in a fantasy kind of aspect of the show. So this is fortunately the last of Cam. He goes and, you know, he sits everybody, he's so weird. He sits everyone down. Luna. My animals are on the struggle bus today. Cam sits everyone down and apparently was writing people letters and says, I have this illness, and it was always, you know, an end factor in all my other relationships. So I'm gonna see if it's an end factor for me in this relationship. And it's just so bizarre. Again, I like tuned him out when he was talking about all this. So unfortunately, he does seem to have this illness, and that's really sad. But he just has no sincerity in his voice when he talks. It's just like he just lacks emotions besides being arrogant and cocky. But no, he literally lacks emotions. He's just like saying this like it's any old conversation. You know, he doesn't really have that empathy factor to him, no sincerity, none of that. So Hannah's just kind of like, so first you tell me you quit your job to be here, and now you're telling me you have this illness, so I'm supposed to feel bad for you. And it's exactly like Mike called it, a pity rose. So I like that Mike took Hannah aside, and she's been on the other side of it where there are people that were not genuinely there for Colton's season. So she was very, you know, receptive to Mike coming and talking to her, and she seemed to appreciate it. And she called Cam out on his BS. And I love how at the start of the rose ceremony, she said, if you get a roast night, it's not a pity rose. Tea girl. At this point, Hannah has had enough of Cam, and he is going home. And who else we have going home? Joey went home. We didn't get to see a lot of him. And Jonathan went home. And honestly, Jonathan took one for the team, because I think him, you know, acting, I guess, I think Jonathan giving Cam a taste of his own medicine kind of rubbed Hannah the wrong way. Like, he pushed it a little bit too far with like getting in between them and all of that stuff. So I don't blame Hannah for just getting rid of Jonathan too, because it's like you were a part of drama as well. You start creating drama, so like goodbye, good riddance. So I can see why she got rid of Jonathan too. So the remaining guys are Jed, Tyler, Mike, Peter, Dustin, Dylan, Grant, Luke, P, Keep forgetting there's 2 of them. Garrett, John Paul Jones, Mateo, Devin, Luke S, and Kevin. Haven't seen a whole lot of Kevin, although I did like how he called Cam out. I don't know if it was this episode or the episode before, but I appreciated it. So far, I think that Jed is gonna go really far. What are your thoughts on Jed? Because he's like a singer-songwriter. So do you think he's here for exposure, or do you think he's like the real deal? Too early to tell, let me know. I think Tyler's gonna be a top contender. Connor's gonna be a top contender. Peter is a top contender for sure. She's so into Peter. And of course, Luke P. And I also really like Devin. I think he's cool. Or was it Dustin? Devin, Dustin. Too many names. Oh my God. Okay, anyways, let's get on with the tea. I didn't notice this because, again, it's so early on in the episode, but there was the other Tyler that mysteriously disappeared from the show, so I want to spill the tea on that. I was looking around on Twitter and people were like, what happened to him? They didn't show him leaving, blah, blah, blah. It was so weird. I don't pay enough attention for this, but you think I would since I'm a recap channel. But basically, he was eliminated for being a bad person. Yes, instead of keeping them on and hoping people don't find out, they're actually getting rid of people as they're finding things out. So, yay, step in the right direction. So basically, I found this there was a Reddit link on Twitter, and it said one of Hannah B's guys spit on his ex. 2 of my best friends went to high school with Tyler, I don't know how to say his last name, Tyler G. They both said that he is the biggest asshole and douche of all time. My friend used the words extreme misogynist. The story that most caught my attention involves his treatment of an ex. Apparently, he dated a really sweet girl, but they would get into public screaming matches often. The relationship ended horrifically. While in Europe, he spit on her and then left her. Great guy. Neither of these friends really watch the show, but can't believe he's going to be on TV. Why is production doing Hannah like this? A side note that I also found from Reality Steve said that Tyler G was kicked off the show earlier in the episode by production, which is why he is not seen in the episode and why we don't hear from him, because while that's serious accusations, ABC didn't want to draw more attention to it, I guess. So what do you think about ABC being a little bit more proactive with the more slimy, not so great people on the show? I think that it's a good move. Again, I didn't really remember seeing him much standing out in the first or second episode anyways. I think the other Tyler seems like a great dude, so what are your thoughts? If you have any comments, let me know down below in next week's episode. At the end of the episode, I will always be discussing comments or possible spoiler, is that a spoiler? That's more like tea. I will be spilling some tea, so if you have any of your own, feel free to let me know because I love to know more information. I don't actively seek out information on the show or the contestants, so if you know any inside dirt, let me know below. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this rambly video. It's been a while since I filmed, so I always tend to overtalk. This doesn't help. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications so you can be notified when the next Bachelor Talks is live. Again, typically on Wednesdays is when these suckers go up. If you're interested in makeup, that is what my channel is mainly about, so feel free to check out the other videos floating around. If you want to keep up on me on social media, all my links are listed down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.